Does it worth to have an affair while married? Check this story out and take your own conclusions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's go to our story. Lucas had always been a strikingly handsome man. Since his teenage years, his charm and good looks set him apart in any crowd. With dark hair and piercing blue eyes, he attracted attention wherever he went. This beauty not only earned him the admiration of women but also an unshakable confidence that accompanied him throughout his life. He felt invincible, as if his appearance could open doors and guarantee success in any endeavor. However, this same confidence would ultimately lead to his downfall. When he met Sarah, he was at the peak of his popularity. She was an intelligent and caring woman who loved him for who he was, not just for his looks. Together, they formed a couple admired by many. Over time, however, the exhausting routine of work and the pressures of daily life began to create a distance between them. Conversations became rarer, moments of affection dwindled, and the evenings they used to spend together watching movies were replaced by hours spent in front of their computers or scrolling through their phones. It was in this context that Julia entered Lucas's life. The new coworker was young, full of energy, and had a contagious laugh that lit up any room. Lucas felt drawn to this new dynamic. It was as if she brought a breath of fresh air into his monotonous life. What started as an innocent friendship quickly transformed into something deeper. Frequent text exchanges turned into secret meetings that became the only thing that made Lucas feel alive again. He believed he could balance his double life without anyone noticing. Lunches with Julia were filled with laughter and knowing glances, while evenings at home grew increasingly cold and distant. Sarah, suspicious of her husband's changing behavior, began to notice small details: the scent of a different perfume on his clothes, the messages on his phone that he tried to hide, and his lack of attention during family moments. The moment she confronted Lucas was devastating. The tears in her eyes reflected the pain he had caused. The betrayal not only destroyed their marriage but also dismantled the home they had built together. The divorce was a painful and exhausting process. Lucas found himself fighting not only for custody of the children but also against the guilt that consumed him. The court decided that shared custody would be the best solution, but visits became limited and fraught with tension. Each encounter with his children was a reminder of what he had lost. They looked at him with a mix of love and confusion, as if trying to understand why their father was no longer present in their lives in the same way. The kids, Ethan and Lily, meant everything to Lucas. He remembered the mornings when he would wake them up with kisses and hugs before school, the afternoons spent playing soccer at the park, and the nights when he would read them stories before bed. Now those moments felt like they belonged to another life. During supervised visits, he tried to maintain normalcy, but each laugh from them felt like a knife in his heart. Ethan often asked why they couldn't go back to being a complete family, while Lily looked at him with those big sad eyes that seemed to plead for answers. Loneliness began to consume Lucas. He spent hours thinking about the laughter he shared with his children and the little things that now seemed so distant: hand-drawn cards for Father's Day and promises of adventures on upcoming weekends. The betrayal he considered an escape from monotony transformed into an emotional prison. He was trapped in his own guilt and regret. Nights were especially difficult. While Sarah moved on with her life, trying to rebuild her future and raise their children alone, Lucas found himself surrounded by deafening silence. He tried to fill this void with work and new friendships, but nothing seemed to bridge the gap left by the absence of his family. Unanswered texts and ignored calls became increasingly frequent. Each buzz from his phone served as a reminder of the growing chasm between him and his children. In a moment of deep reflection, Lucas realized that his impulsive choice for Julia not only destroyed his marriage, it also cost him his relationship with his children. Their love was not something easily recoverable. Lost time weighed too heavily on him to bear. He became a man marked by guilt, wandering through a life that now felt empty and devoid of purpose. Lucas often dreamed about the day he could regain his children's trust, but that hope seemed increasingly distant. He tried calling them on special days, birthdays or holidays, but conversations were short and filled with hesitation. Ethan seemed to be growing up too fast to understand what happened between their parents. Lily was still too young to fully comprehend the pain of separation. The weight of betrayal began affecting every aspect of Lucas's life. At work, his productivity plummeted. He frequently missed important deadlines because his mind wandered back to memories of happier times. Conversations with colleagues became superficial. No one knew about the emotional storm raging inside him. Weeks turned into months, and Lucas realized he was trapped in a vicious cycle of regret and loneliness. He sought professional help in hopes of finding a way forward, but even therapy sessions couldn't alleviate the burden of guilt weighing on him. The therapist spoke about forgiveness, both self-forgiveness and forgiving others, but those words felt hollow against the reality of his suffering. The betrayal had been just the beginning of a series of poor decisions that led him into isolation. He understood too late that some choices have irreversible consequences and that infidelity often comes at a high price paid in lost love and broken bonds. The image of his children smiling beside him was now just a distant memory, each day without them echoed incessantly with pain caused by his own actions. Lucas knew he could never go back or change the past. All that remained was living with the consequences of betrayal, a constant shadow over his life. And so he continued on this solitary journey, carrying with him the unbearable weight of regret while desperately seeking a way back to what he had lost forever. As time passed, Lucas began to realize how much his physical beauty had been both a blessing and a curse. He had always been admired by those around him. Friends praised his natural charm while strangers lined up for attention from him. But this same beauty also fed into an inflated ego. He believed himself irresistible and immune to consequences. The superficiality of relationships based solely on looks began to weigh heavily on him like an unbearable burden. As he watched other ordinary men struggle to win women over through genuine personality or character traits, Lucas felt empty, realizing how fragile his self-esteem based solely on physical appearance truly was. Now walking through streets feeling invisible, even when receiving admiring glances from passers-by meant nothing compared to genuine love from children or true connection with Sarah before betrayal occurred. His beauty had become a bitter reminder, a constant echo reflecting back at him what once was, of love lost amidst fleeting moments filled only by shallow interactions devoid meaning. In solitary reflections during long nights alone at home, Lucas often contemplated how different things might have been had he valued deeper relationships rather than fleeting flings fueled by looks alone, wishing desperately he'd invested more time nurturing true love instead chasing temporary validation through infidelity. Thus continued Lucas's story, a handsome man outwardly yet deeply wounded internally, a man burdened by guilt whose beauty now served merely as an unending reminder of lost love alongside poor choices made along life's winding path. A path leading nowhere except deeper into remorseful solitude without hope for redemption waiting ahead. Comment your thoughts here below and don't forget to follow for more videos like this one.